If imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, you have joined the most flattered podcast I can think of.
I'm Richard.
I'm John, and I'm spicy today, so look out. Hey, everybody. I'm not spicy enough to welcome you to Bronze and Modern Gods. If you're not following us on Facebook and Instagram, like other people who gain inspiration from us, do so now at Bronze and Modern Gods. Like this video, hit subscribe. Every little bit helps us in the algorithm so people can see that, when it comes to certain things, we're the OGs.
That's right.
All right, I'm just going to say it. I'm a little irritated. I'm not going to call anybody out yet.
Yeah.
You all have eyes. You can see, you can hear. We have viewer mail. We have our underrated books of the week. We have the old fart rule. And let's get things started with our hot book of the week. John, what is it? Well, John.
I was surprised to see this one. Yeah, go into it.
It is Rom number 1. This is the origin and first appearance of Rom and the Dire Wraiths. And Richard, if you don't know, there's lots of excitement and activity around this over the past week because Marvel and Hasbro made a major announcement that hell has indeed frozen over. We're not only getting a full omnibus reprinting of Rom, but also Micronauts as well.
Oh, that is amazing.
There are also going to be facsimile editions of both first issues coming in September for the first one. For Rom, number 1, sales of the direct version in a CGC 9.8 are around $200 and $260. But a notable CGC 9.8 newsstand copy sold for $331. That was actually via auction on eBay. It was not a buy it now. So I tend to give those a little more weight than buy it nows. It's actual
right.
what the people
competition, right?
Yeah. Now, a buy it now newsstand 9.8 did sell for $531 back in March. That's kind of crazy outlier. Did you like Rom? Did you read Rom?
Rom was one of those books that I bought every single month. You have back in the day, you had a pull list and you had a stack this big every single comic book day because a stack this big would cost you $20.
Yep.
Nowadays, a stack this big would be about 10 times that. And yeah, Rom was always in my pull list. I read it, but not on a regular basis.
Oh, well, I loved Rom and I loved Micronauts, and
I love Micronauts, yeah.
The common theme was Bill Matlow doing the writing on both. I'm excited because this was something that we were told over and over and over again was never going to happen because Hasbro was doing their own Hasbro cinematic universe with these properties in G.I. Joe and whatever else they own. So to see these finally being reprinted after 40 years plus is really amazing. And I wonder if this is going to open the door for all those other crossovers, because these both properties were fully integrated into the Marvel universe. Rom was in Marvel 2-in-1 with The Thing. The Micronauts and X-Men miniseries I don't think has ever been reprinted. So hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, this is exciting. It proves that there is actual hope for these properties that are enmeshed in all of these IP struggles. Maybe people are actually seeing money is on the table, and they actually will figure out these issues, and artists will release some of their grip on their properties, and we'll see things come that we didn't think we'd ever see.
G.I. Joe back to Marvel, maybe?
Yeah.
With IDW's issues and their problems right now, is that a possibility? Oh, man.
That would be cool.
Oh, this is just hitting that sweet spot in my Bronze Age loving heart. I love it. And before we get things started with viewer mail, we have a little show and tell with Richard here. But first, a little correction. Last week, I showed off my Yogi Bear 4-color issue 1067 or 64. Can't remember when it was. And I mistakenly said it was the first appearance of Yogi Bear in comics. And I knew it wasn't. What I meant to say was that it was the first issue of Yogi Bear as a solo comic. The first 3 issues of Yogi Bear were under 4-color comics then the Yogi Bear title proper started their numbering with issue number 4. More than a few of you pointed it out that 4-color comics number 990 featuring Huckleberry Hound
Yeah.
had an 8-page Yogi Bear story tucked away inside, making that his first actual appearance in comics. There he is on the cover, peeking out of that top hat. Not peeking out of Top Cat. That would be weird.
Oh, people don't realize back in the day, Huckleberry Hound and Yogi Bear, these were what you had for cartoons. You didn't have Cartoon Network with 85,000 different shows. You had just a few shows and you absorbed them. And this was one of those shows.
You had to suffer through Clutch Cargo, if anybody remembers Clutch Cargo.
Yeah, we had Grape Ape and
Oh,
yeah, all the
Hong
Hanna
Kong Phooey.
Yeah, yep, yep. It
But
was Wacky Racers, all kinds of fun stuff.
to everybody who left comments correcting me, thank you. I do appreciate the check. I sometimes I don't have enough notes and I'm racing, and I have no problem admitting, oh, I'm wrong. And on that happy note, Richard, you have some show offs this week, do you not?
I do. I have a couple of things. First of all, it was my wife and my 24th wedding anniversary.
Whoa.
24 years.
Wow.
As I like to say, 17 of the happiest years of my life. Uh,
She doesn't
uh,
know, right? She doesn't listen.
she does. But we always struggle for what to get for anniversary gifts, and so my wife approached John and asked her for his help because she knows I love comic books. And John knows of my love for Archie and the innuendo covers of Archie. And he found this book for her. This is Archie Comics number 271. It is the famous pearl necklace issue. And John got a good one. This is a really nice condition. He pressed it for me. So it's ready to go if I want to submit it. But yeah, I love these. There's a series of Archie books that at the time had a different meaning than they mean now, and the necklace reference had a different connotation at the time.
I got that at Comic Con Revolution last week. I saw it on the wall from a dealer, and I texted your wife furiously. I was like, "Are you still looking for something?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, it's a little naughty, so beware." She's like, "It's perfect." Uh, and another good example of buying books from a dealer who doesn't bother to press his books. I think that was probably a 7580 I bought it as, and right now it's a 92 maybe?
Yeah, yeah, at least. It's in great shape. I was really surprised. Just the colors are vibrant. I think it has a good shot at a 9.2.
All right, good luck. Anything else?
Yeah, a few more. We have the privilege of having some of the best viewers ever. One of the viewers is Keys and Grails is his
Yes.
Instagram channel, and he sent us this particular comic. We haven't shown it before, but this is an awesome comic. Keys and Grails. This is I'm assuming self-published because there is no I don't see a publisher on here. It says disapproved by the Comic Code. This is awesome. He he and Rat 316 do some amazing um, work with corner boxes. I'm a huge fan of corner boxes, and this comic is a collection of all the corner boxes that he has done over the years, and they are awesome. I do corner boxes as well. All of his though are unique pieces of art representing different characters. Some of them really Marvel, some of them not Marvel. But one of the cool things about this book is they've got advertisements in here, just like in the old days. This is like real newsprint. And back here is a Bronze and Modern Gods advertisement,
Yeah, hold
just
it
like
up a little bit. Hold it. There you go. You can see it at the bottom there in the middle.
okay, down here at the bottom, just like they used to print back in the day, specifically for Bronze and Modern Gods and some of the other YouTubers out here. You got Bronze Age Batcave. So, this is great. I thank you so much. Keys and Grails sends us books like this. Um, just because, and I really appreciate them. I cherish all the ones you send, and he even has sent a little corner box here in the back of the book.
Oh wow.
So again, props. Thank you so much, you and Rat 316. You guys are awesome. And
Thank you for not having Richard and I selling grit in the ad.
grits. Oh, that would be awesome.
Or seeds. What was the one for seeds?
Seeds, yes. Oh my goodness, so many seeds. All right, the next one is, this book I thought was going to take forever to turned around, and apparently they got it back pretty quickly. This is Action Comics 1053. This is the Virgin cover. I think it's 1 in 25.
Oh, did you send that in or did you buy it slabbed?
I bought it slabbed. I
Okay.
bought this the day it was released, and it sold out instantly. It says East Sides Comics. This is Will Jack is the artist on the cover.
I won't make
Um,
that joke again.
but yeah, this was hard to get because it sold out in the first 5 minutes online. You can buy it on eBay at, of course, a premium. But I bought this book because I'm a big Good Girl art, and I am a huge fan of Power Girl, and this is just a great cover. I am discovering Will Jack's talent. I wasn't aware of him before as an artist, so this is just an amazing piece, and it goes into my GGA collection.
I'm being so good. Will Jack,
I know, pearl necklace, all that fun stuff.
an
Yeah.
amazing piece.
And the last piece, this is a book I ordered 9 months ago,
Mm,
September of 2022. Is when this book is dated. No, August of 2022. This is Spider-Man number 39. This is a uh, virgin cover of, again, this is Eastside Comics. This is one of their store exclusives. I just love this cover. This is Miles Morales, and it's kind of a negative space cover. And I just really like this. It took forever for this book to um, actually get here. Like I said, I ordered it last year at some point. I had forgotten that I had
what
ordered
happened?
it.
Do you know? Did they have printing issues or anything?
I don't know. I don't know. It could be that, this black cover. It was sold as a 9.8. Not
Mhm.
sometimes store exclusives will sell it as a 9.6 or greater. So if for some reason they don't have enough 9.8s, that they'll give you a 9.6 and you just have to settle. This was sold as a 9.8. So this is an all black cover.
Yeah.
So if they had any kind of manufacturing issues or any issues with grading, they had to keep submitting books until they had a sufficient number of 9.8s to fill orders. So potentially that could have been one of the issues.
Wow. All right. Good grabs. I'm being good this week after my spending spree at California Comic Con. Although I did buy a book on a live sale that they tried to deliver it Friday and I
Oh
missed it.
no, I hate that.
So I know. So I have to wait until Tuesday after the holiday here, and I'll show it off next week. Yeah, this crew will love it for sure. So let's move on to everybody's favorite topic, viewer mail.
You've got
Our
mail.
first piece of viewer mail comes from our email at bronzeandmoderngods@gmail.com from Tom Kometz. John and Richard, I have a proposal that would be mutually beneficial. Since you are both in agreement in expressing a deep dislike and disrespect for the work of Frank Robbins, why not gather all of his comics from your collection, box them up, and let me know how much the shipping cost would be? You would be unburdened, and I would give a loving, warm home to some books that are currently only feeling icy, harsh judgment. Tom. Tom.
Uh,
Ouch. Oh, the owie. Shots fired.
I love the dripping sarcasm. I absolutely
You
love it.
too. Thanks for writing in, Tom. I'm trying to remember what we said about Frank Robbins. I mean, I actually have said many times on the podcast, I love his Invaders work. I collect
Mhm.
Invaders. I have a full run. Um, and I grew up hating it intensely with 1,000 fires of 1,000,000 suns, but I also bought it.
Mhm.
So I will say I have problems with his Captain America solo when he was on Cap and Mr. Rubber Legs and wobbly, questionable anatomical choices.
Yeah, I can't remember specifically calling out my dislike for him. He does have, just like Sienkiewicz, he's got stuff that I find acceptable, and then he has stuff that I just pure dross. Um, I can't remember those specifically what I called out that I had a huge dislike for.
There's an issue of Captain America. I think it's 183, where they introduced the Gamecock, which is, a villain that sounds like he dresses as a chicken, "Paka!" And there's one page where it's just like nobody has bones. They're just flopping around fighting. That's what I think of whenever I think of Frank Robbins. However, Frank Robbins doing World War II invaders with the accurate um, aircraft and ships and weaponry. Love Frank Robbins on Invaders. It made sense because he drew like a golden age great, like Lee Elias or someone like that. So it looked right on Invaders. It just did not look right on Captain America
Mhm.
or Daredevil. Sorry, his Daredevil was brutal.
Gamecock, really?
Gamecock.
I can't imagine facing yourself in the mirror in the morning.
I am the mighty Gamecock. None can defeat Gamecock. I hope I got the name right. If I don't have the name right, I'm not re-editing this, people. What's your first piece of viewer mail?
My first piece of viewer mail came to our bronze and modern gods at gmail.com account. It's from Ben Whitehead. Specifically, he says, I recently submitted an issue of Batman 404 to CGC. I'm a little bit of a grade snob and reviewed the book 3 or 4 times and decided it to be around a 9698. I received the book back as a 98, which is great news until I looked over the book. Feel free to take in the numerous spine ticks in the photo. He provided a
Whoa,
couple of
look at
photos.
that.
Ah, my goodness, this there is no way that anyone could legitimately call this a 9.8 or a 9.6 for goodness sakes. Um, I thought to myself, maybe I missed all of that. It's hard to believe I couldn't see all that. I really find it hard to believe you could miss something as significant as that, or damage the book's damage in shipping. But if either one of was the case, how did it get through 3 graders? And CGC claims that 3 different graders verify a grade before it actually received its label. How did it get through 3 graders with a 9.8? Just thought I would share the story and get your thoughts.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
You want to go? You want to go first?
I I am not well, this is a tough one. You got a 9.8. Um, the book is graded as a 9.8, but looking at it, it does not deserve a 9.8. It is not really a 9.8.
No.
If you were to ever get the book re-encapsulated for the case cracked or some other issue, you would not get a 9.8 back. You would get a lower grade because the book shows as not as the grade on the label. That makes this problematic, and we'll talk about some of CGC's issues here in a minute. But if it's within a 14-day window, I would definitely go and talk to CGC, send them pictures, and explain to them what you see. I don't know if the book got damaged in handling, if they switched it with another book. Um, because I'm confident in you as a viewer to know the difference between a 9.698 and a 7.0, which is what this book looks like.
Yeah, I th- I'm stunned. I mean, I look at this and how can anyone with how can anyone slab this and call it 9.8? I think it got switched.
Hmm.
I honestly think it got switched. We hear this all the time about people's books being swapped for another book with the same issue, same title, and they slab it in the wrong label or the wrong slab. Something happened here. I'm curious, Ben, did you take pictures and send it to CGC and ask, what up, customer service?
Hmm.
Because I'm curious. You can't sell it now.
He's in a rock and a hard place because if no matter what the resolution for this is, he's not going to get another 9.8 book. CGC is not going to provide that to him. They may give him a refund
Yeah,
for
he
the
can get
cancellation.
compensation. Yeah, get some compensation for sure.
Mhm. But I hopefully this is a book that you wanted for your collection and you'll keep it. Like John says, this is a tough one to sell
Mhm.
as a 9.8 because you'll have to disclose to a buyer. And if a buyer has a choice between two different 9.8s, they're going to pick the one that looks like a 9.8. I'm sorry to say. But yeah, maybe you can get some compensation from CGC. It kind of sucks all the way around. Um, and it just makes you question CGC, the speed of which they're pushing books through and the potential handling issues that they're having with books, if this is indicative of what can happen.
Even if it was for my PC, I wouldn't keep it. I'd be so angry every time I looked at it that I
Mhm.
I wouldn't want it in my house. Ew, get it out of here.
No, I've got a 9.6. One of the books I bought at part of this the stroller collection
Yeah.
from uh, from California Comic Con this year. Um, it was a 9.6. It's a rare variant cover, and I was excited at the price. And then John pointed out, because he was standing behind me as always, being the extra set of eyes. He says, "Look at the book." And I looked closely at the book, and there were spine ticks on the book to a level that I would not grade it as a 9.6. And I brought it to the attention of the seller, and I got a significant discount on the book. Still bought it because I just don't see that book very often, and it's going to the PC, and I'll keep it. And it is a 9.6; it's great. Um, but yeah, just because the label says something doesn't mean the book actually is that grade. Buy the book, not the grade.
You make me think of something else, especially in terms of your young allies,
Hmm.
9.6, which is what you're talking about.
Right. Hmm.
I have to wonder if that book was pressed and it reverted because he took it out of the press too soon and it cooled down. And by the
Hmm.
time it got graded and slabbed, it reverted. Ben, did you press this as well and press out those spine ticks and then it reverted?
They
Hmm?
look color breaking though to me.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at it now. You're right. Ben, email them for sure. Call them. Get something out of this. That's
Get some
not right.
compensation and update us. Let us know what happens.
Speaking of our friends in Sarasota, CGC announced new rules for mechanical error replacements. And boy, no one's happy.
No.
What are the new rules, Richard?
They are only allowing for now. Mechanical replacements happen when, according to CGC, there is damage to the case or a mislabel, and the damage has to be damage from the original shipping. They're limiting the mechanical error submissions to the person who originally submitted the book, which means if you buy the book secondhand, you cannot get it reslabbed, and you have a 14-day window to be able to find an issue with the book and then submit the book back for a reslab. They will pay for the shipping, they will pay for the book being reslabbed if it falls within the categories of what they claim as mechanical damages. If you send a book back for something like Newton rings, the book will be sent back to you and you will be charged for the return shipping. Newton rings do not count as mechanical errors anymore, or if they ever did.
They
Um,
did.
did they
People,
did they allow that?
yeah, in certain, like that one Marvel Spotlight #5 that I talked about looked like
Mhm.
the Exxon Valdez.
So yeah, you have to be the original submitter, and you have a 14-day window. Now, I don't know if that 14-day start when they ship it to you. If it takes 3 or 4 days for you to get the book and then you're on vacation and you don't actually get to look at the book until a few days after you get back from vacation, that 14-day window can be eaten up very quickly. And so you really need to open those submissions and examine those books as soon as you get them.
There's a holiday weekend, you miss the UPS guy or USPS guy, and don't get the signature. Sorry, in this case, it's FedEx because they went all FedEx now.
Mhm.
Um, the bottom line here is the minute you get that box, open it up or you're going to be screwed.
But like me, I have a Miracle Man #1 that I bought that I thought was a UK edition. I received the book because I'm an idiot and didn't verify the pictures. Um, the label says it's a UK edition, but the UK edition has a very distinct yellow back cover. The book did not have that; it had the original, US cover, but it's labeled as a UK edition. If I wanted to send that book back to be um, relabeled to its real edition, I'd have to pay for the shipping and for the relabel and everything. That's 50, $60 to get the proper label for a mistake that they made. And I just don't think that is the right move for the company for goodwill to the community.
Did you call them?
I have not. I have not. I have the book here. I didn't know, about this issue until you brought it to my attention. The fact that they were changing the requirements. Um, I
I would
it's
still
not.
call them. I would
Yeah.
still call them. You never know. You might get someone on the line that cuts you a break and lets it slide by this time. I've had good, for as much as we moan and whine, customer service has been pretty good to me.
Mhm.
So
No,
give it a shot.
I've had things. I've submitted books back that have had issues, um, and they've mechanical errors, and they've resolved them pretty
Remember
easily.
my,
And
remember my giant size X-Men #1?
yeah.
When they slabbed it and they put it in the inner well, they bent a little bit of the cover overhang. So while said it was a 9.4, it was not a 9.4. And so they took it back, pressed it out, and reslabbed it, and it came back a
Mhm.
9.4.
You've had your mixed bag of success with CGC
Yeah,
and
I don't put
so
up with it.
yeah.
If I get something I'm not happy with, they probably see caller ID and go, "Oh Christ, this guy again." I don't put up with it. I'm paying for a service. I've been in their system for going on 20 years now. If I'm paying for something, I want it to be done right.
Sure.
And I am a Karen. You guys have seen the wig.
But it's legitimate. I mean, depending on the book, the least amount you're going to be charged for them is what, $40 plus
Yeah.
return shipping. So 60, $70 or what you're going to pay for a book. That's just for a modern. If you submit, an X-Men, giant size X-Men, you now have to go to the highest tier, which is a minimum of $150 for the book. And you you're paying that money, you deserve to get the service that they promised you for that money. And if there's an issue, it's on them to fix it. And to me, this 14-day limitation is ludicrous. I really think it puts the onus on the person who has the issue to to conform as opposed to them owning up to the issue and resolving it.
Yeah, the two things. Number one, I'm a lot of hyperbole when I say I'm a Karen. You're going to catch a lot more flies with honey than vinegar. I'm always very nice when I call, and I have to say, psychologically, I think that helps me. I've
Mhm,
got lots of credit. I've gotten lots of stuff resolved because I'm nice when I call,
mhm,
and understanding. And I think, let's look at the business side of CGC. We know some of these collectors and dealers out there. No one's 100% pure on this side either. I'm sure there's a lot of abuse of
mhm.
mechanical error submissions. And so this is a way for them to put something in writing. But I'm telling you, I think if you called them, Richard, with your Miracle Man and we were nice, I bet you they would try to help. I think it's a way to track people that abuse this.
Yeah, I probably would. One off, I think they have some leeway. I see people abusing the system to get custom labels, for example. The book I submitted, um, has an issue, and while it's back there, why don't you throw on a custom label for me?
Here's five
For
bucks.
$5. Yeah, things like that. And I could see people abusing it, but you can't paint everyone at the same broad brush. And there are people who legitimately have issues. CGC's been in business for quite a long time, and their standards are, their quality has been variant. And if you come across a book that has an issue, I think it's on their responsibility to help you resolve it.
There you go. My next piece of viewer mail comes from our email at bronzeandmoderngods@gmail.com from Omar Nagy. Hello, guys. I love your YouTube videos, with the Monday show now a regular feature of my viewing habits. Thank
Okay.
you, Omar. I am fairly new to your channel, so not sure if this was ever discussed, but I wanted to identify an underappreciated book whose significance is not really understood. In my opinion, it is Coyote number 12. While Coyote number 11 is the first published work of Todd McFarlane, he has said in interviews that the first comic work he actually drew was Coyote number 12. After completing this work, the editor asked him to redraw parts of 11, which ended up being published first, obviously. So chronologically, Coyote 12 is the first work he actually drew, which I think doesn't get any love from the comic book community. I think this is analogous to the X-Men 266 Annual 14 Gambit controversy. A Comics Hom interview from a couple years ago is where I heard him point this out. And me wanting this information out there has nothing to do with the half dozen copies of Coyote 12 I'm hoarding. Take care and thanks again. Omar, thank you. I hear you. I don't think it means anything. I think no one, fans really don't care chronologically when pencil was put to paper for
Mm.
Todd there. And, at the end of the day, like it or not, Coyote 11 came out first. And knowing the publishing history of that book, I'm sure Coyote 11 came out months before Coyote 12. It was not on a regular monthly schedule, I will tell you that. I hear you. I agree with you. That happened first.
Mhm.
However, 11 hit the stands first, and the fans have spoken.
And yeah, you brought up a perfect example: the X-Men 266 and the Annual 14, the Gambit situation.
I think
Um,
that's it, though. Go ahead.
oh no, Gambit obviously he appears in Annual 14 and is called out, but even though that people pick 266 as his first appearance and tend to favor that.
It's that cover. Gambit's on the cover with Storm, and it says introducing the Raging Cajun or whatever it says. It should say that. When I think of Adam Sandler, when I think of Gambit is Cajun Man. She has a secondary mutation.
Oh my goodness, what a way to get confused.
I know. Omar, I hear you. Gonna have to tell you, I think you're stuck with your 6 copies of Coyote 12.
Yeah, unless you send them to Todd and have him sign it. Maybe you can get a
Have Todd
premium for sign
write on
copy.
the cover, I drew this first, and sign it. See what happens. What do you have next?
My next piece of viewer mail is from Techno Viking. I love it. I have seen many examples of CBCS signature verification confirming that the signature on the book is not authentic. Many,
Ah,
not just a few. Their verification service is fantastic. And this is
oh,
we brought this up. We had not heard any rejections from CBCS's signature verification service. So this is a nice confirmation that they're not 100% just signing off on signatures.
you don't have to fall on this grenade, Richard. I said it. I was the one that said I've never heard of them rejecting a book. And not only did Techno Viking confirm this, also our buddy Eric at Comics Are Go left a comment saying he has seen books be rejected as well, and a couple other comments in our DMs and Instagram. So again, correction number 2 for John this week. I'm batting 1,000.
I don't have a whole lot of experience with their signature verifications. I've submitted all of one book to CBCS,
Mhm.
and it was an easy signature. It was a J. Scott Campbell. His signature is pretty easy to pick out. Um, and it came back, verified, and I was happy with it. It came back a 9.8 verified. I was even more happy. So to hear that signature verification is actually accurate, that's comforting, and I think it's a feather in their cap.
I'm glad to hear it too, really. My next piece of viewer mail is from our email at bronzeandmoderngods@gmail.com from Zoe's friend. Hi, gentlemen. I continue to enjoy your show very much and look forward to new episodes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does Zoe listen?
Hi, Zoe.
On this week's episode, Richard mentioned staying away from resealable bags. Almost my entire collection is carefully stored away in boxes, i.e., no bags or boards. However, I was recently gifted an old magazine spinner rack, and I thought I would fill it with comics after bagging and boarding them. How cool! A
Yeah.
collector friend mentioned that he really liked the resealable bags, so I ordered a bunch on Amazon. I'm curious what you don't like about the resealable bags. I also appreciated the notion of using painter's tape. That idea had not crossed my mind before. I'm assuming the logic there is that it's not as potentially damaging to the books should the tape come in contact with them, but correct me if I'm missing anything there. Thanks again for a great show. Thank you, Zoe's friend. Tell Zoe we said hey. Resealable bags are the devil.
They are. I
You're new here. Sorry, Richard. I
Okay.
have to tell my story. He's new here. He does not remember 2 years ago. My bat was a Detective 400
Hmm.
first man bat, where it was in a resealable bag. It was a 9.4. I was gonna press it to see if I can get a 9.6, a 9.8 out of it, and I was taking it out of the bag, and I turned it around, and the resealable bag, like a magnet to iron, just it moved of its own volition and attached itself to the front cover, leaving a nasty tape pool and me with a 7.5 Detective
Hmm.
Comics 400. It's not the first time. Not only is that long strip of tape that goes across the entire width a danger while it's near a book, they seem to have some static electricity or something that just draws them closer to the book as you're taking them out.
So I had a beautiful, I think it was ASM 40. It was a Craven cover. He's standing on
Mhm.
the cover. It was really nice. I took it out of the bag, which was resealable, and I put the bag facing up so the resealable tape was there, and I put the book down. And like John says, the static electricity between the bag and the cover vacuum sealed that
It
thing.
floated towards your comic, right?
Yeah. And it left this horrible tape hole. And I was disgusted, and I never wanted to see that book again. I actually sold it in a live sale for a pittance because I wanted somebody else to live with my misery.
Take that pain.
But, all is not lost. You can still use those resealable bags. Just don't peel off that the plastic on the resealable part. Just use painter's tape and just close them and use painter's tape to keep them closed. Trust me, it will not happen a lot, but it will happen enough that you'll end up with damaging a book in your collection. And all it takes is one expensive book for you to um, really regret the time savings having that tape on that bag gives you.
Richard's right. You can use the resealable bags, use them for cat litter, use them for recyclables,
Uh,
use them to go through security checkpoints with your liquids. Don't use them for comics. There's two things here that I want to touch upon. Not only are they're just danger, that little cellophane that you peel off, it just ends up everywhere. Again, the static electricity or whatever is in that cellophane makes it impossible to gather them all up at once.
yes,
But
yes, it's
painter's tape. Here's the thing about painter's tape. Painter's tape has saved my bacon so many times because, you get in a rush. We all like to be as careful as we possibly can with our comics, but sometimes we're just sloppy. And I've caught painter's tape on books. And if you stop, exhale, and slowly peel, painter's tape will not damage your comics. That's why we recommend painter's tape.
absolutely it provides that seal, but it doesn't actually adhere permanently to the cover like those resealable bags. And I used to be in the resealable bag camp.
Me
I
too.
bought I redid my entire collection when I got it out of the attic. I rebagged and board everything with resealable. And like John says, the little cellophane stuff, it sticks to everything but itself. And it was just a nightmare to deal with. If I had to do it over again, I would just use straight old bags with the painter's tape.
Zoe's friend, it hasn't happened to you yet. Once it
But it will.
happens, yes, it will happen. And once it does, you will remember this podcast and go, "Why did I listen to my comic book uncles?"
We'll
What is your
we'll be a comfort to you.
Yeah, we won't gloat. What is your last piece of viewer mail?
My last piece is from Raptors Collectibles. I know how much Richard loves good girl art. I was wondering if he picked up the Wonder Woman 799 Raza cover. It's
Ooh,
not an incentive cover, but the art is fantastic. Yeah, John, can you put up a picture of this one?
there she is. Hi.
It is gorgeous. This is a gorgeous cover. You can buy this for cover, for, $4.99. There is a foil version of this that's about I saw on eBay for 65. That is completely without trade dress. But this 4.99 cover has minimum trade dress. I love DC and their minimum trade dress. They instead of covering the comic with a bunch of gibberish, they just have a nice little in the corner trade dress. So yeah, this is gorgeous. I thank you for bringing this to my attention. I missed this one.
Mm.
I will be buying a copy and adding it to my collection. Thank you so much.
There's I think I'm not exaggerating. This is not hyperbole. 7,864 different variant covers for Wonder Woman 800.
Mm. It's the trend. Yeah.
I
It's
think
the
that's the
trend.
exact number. Is that the exact
It
number?
could be very well be, just like Spider-Man 900 came out, and there was more variations of covers than their number countries in the world. Um, it's just an unfortunate trend with Marvel and DC trying to maximize the amount of money they make off of these issues. So
Anyone reading any of the Dawn of DC books? I'm curious. I'm open. Let us know what you like. I would love to read some new comics. I really do. I'm tired of rereading all of my oldies on the iPad. You know, all I'm reading is Love and Rockets, the new. That's all I'm reading now. I mean, I'm still buying Cap because I just can't quit it, but I'm not reading it.
you'll regret it if you stop buying it.
I did before. Remember,
Yeah.
Heroes Reborn. Boy, we sound like a couple of old farts. It's the old fart rule.
Oh, that is us.
The old fart rule is when we go back 40 years to 1983, the golden age. This is the true golden age of
Okay.
comics. The mid 80s, the early mid 80s, Dark Knight, Watchmen, just the Secret Wars.
Mhm.
Well, okay, they're not all Squadron Supreme. How's
Okay.
that?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Today we're going to talk about this book from 1983. It is Das Ding, The Thing #1. Now, this was the first issue of the first solo series featuring The Thing, coming after an amazingly popular 100 issue run of Marvel 2-in-1, which was the Thing team up book. People forget how popular The Thing was through the 70s. The Thing sustained his own team up book for
Mhm.
100 issues. You can't even imagine. There's an ongoing Thing series, I think, now happening, but nothing has stuck. Um, the Thing Marvel team up, or sorry, Marvel 2-in-1 was so successful. They were like, okay, well, let's just make it a Thing solo book at one point, written by John Byrne, who was also doing Fantastic Four at the time, so he kept it all in the family. Drawn by Ron Wilson, one of the big unsung heroes of Marvel's Bronze Age. I love Ron Wilson's art. No Frank Robbins, but I love Ron Wilson's art. I'm just teasing you, Tom. Who drew the majority of the 2-in-1 run. While I was a devoted Marvel 2-in-1 buyer, for some reason, this one lost me after 3 issues. I lasted 3 issues. I remember why. I think it was the issue 3, where Crystal is fighting with Pietro over whether or not to expose their daughter to the Terrigen mists and make her an inhuman.
Mhm.
Okay. And that's when it's revealed that Lockjaw, the Inhuman's pet dog, the big giant dog that teleports,
Mhm.
all this time wasn't a dog. He was an Inhuman. And that's what the mists did to him. They changed him to this dog, which, sounds like a great O. Henry twist ending. Except we have to accept that for the last 20 plus years, the Inhumans humiliated this poor guy and treated him like a pet.
Yeah.
Even then, my young teenage self said, "That's not right. This is dumb." And I stopped reading it. And boy, did I jump off this book at the right time, because right after this, the book became The Adventures of Rocky Grimm's Space Ranger, because the thing stayed behind on the battle world at Secret Wars. So it becomes this science fiction John Carter Warlord of Mars riff for over a year. Yikes.
Wow.
I know. So the thing limped along for 3 years. The average 90-day average for a CGC 9.8 of number one is $116. It is trending up slightly with all the Fantastic Four movie rumors floating around. But did you read the thing?
I like you. I read it when it first came out. Issue number one. I was a huge Byrne Fantastic Four fan. Still
Yeah.
am. His stuff is amazing. And so I saw the thing number one. It's awesome. So I picked it up. But my interest petered out. I did not make it to the Rocky Grimm Space Ranger phase. Thank goodness. But yeah, I read it initially, but I lost interest at some point.
I understand why Byrne wanted to take him off the table, because he had to justify bringing in She-Hulk
Right.
uh,
Mhm.
to the team. And he also had to justify probably what was an edict from editorial, which was Secret Wars has to have lasting impact. Spider-Man's new costume, all these things that were supposed to be permanent, and so
Mhm.
now the thing is now on this other planet, running around being a barbarian, space barbarian. I just, oh, that's not what I want from the thing. No wonder
Right.
it only. And then they make him. They comes back. It's written by Mark Carlin, and they make him a pro wrestler, because WWE was hot at that time,
Mhm.
WWF at that time. And so he's a wrestler, and then Sharon Ventura is the new Miss Marvel. You got Paul Neary drawing it. Team America comes back. Ben joins Team America.
Oh man, poor Ben.
Yeah. So the thing, rest in peace, thing solo title. Let's move on to some happier stuff. The underrated books of the week. Richard, you have underrated books, plural for sure.
Yeah, this time I do research for one of the things I do for fun is I make corner boxes. I was talking about earlier. And in the research of doing my corner boxes, I came across this series of unique corner boxes for Hulk from issue number 292 through 300. And that was February issue of the Hulk in 1983 through October in 1984. So it's kind of in that spot we were just talking about. And what's cool about this is, the corner boxes is the little piece of artwork in the upper left-hand corner with typically it has an avatar for the characters in that book. So you've got, in this case, the Hulk. And then there's a price box with the price and the issue number. And that corner box tends to stay the same for a significant amount of time, and it may change, especially for like when the X-Men team changes, you'll have different X-Men's portraits in that corner box. But it's infrequent that changes. Well, for this run of books from Hulk 292 to 300, you had the Hulk transforming from a rational, Professor Hulk to the Savage Hulk, and every issue had him changing more and more, ripping off more of his clothes, and getting more and more violent. And in the storyline, that was happening too. He starts off being, Professor Hulk, someone who is rational, and through the machinations of a couple of different hero or villains, the last one being Nightmare, he is um, transformed into the Savage Hulk, the irrational Hulk, just like that corner box indicates. And it gets so bad that you have the entire Avengers fighting him in issue 299, trying to try to contain him because he is now completely savage. So if you were to put these corner boxes side by side, and I've got a shot here of all the different corner boxes, you'll see that transformation, and it's pretty cool. I cannot find a reference to a series of corner boxes that goes on for the total number of issues here that we're looking at anywhere else in Marvel's history. So this is pretty cool. If you're a fan of corner boxes, or if you're a fan of the Hulk, this is a pretty neat thing that you don't see a whole lot. You don't see mentioned a whole lot, and it's one of those Easter eggs that I think is a lot of fun.
First of all, tell everybody where they can find your corner boxes.
They can find my corner boxes at cornerboxed with ed.com. And I
There
sell corner boxes from a number of different issues. And I'll be selling something related to this too at some point. But yeah,
They're
it's a
very
lot of fun.
cool. They're 3D laser printed replicas of the original corner box. The corner boxes in the Bronze Age were super exciting to me for some
Mhm.
reason, because I liked seeing when a new artist would come on and change the corner box to their interpretation. I remember Champions, Hercules, Hercules, Hercules. Burke's headshot was in the corner box for Champions for almost the entire run. And I'm like, it's a team book, you guys. Can we add the rest of the team to the corner box, please? And then they finally did, and it was cool. And then they canceled the book. So I liked seeing, okay, here's the Cockrum X-Men heads.
Right.
Here's the Byrne X-Men heads, and then the Paul Smith X-Men heads, and the John Romita Jr. X-Men heads. So I don't know. I just always got a kick out of the corner boxes when they were on the comics.
Yeah, I think they're iconic. I mean, they bring back memories of that age because Marvel stopped doing corner boxes on their major titles, and DC never really did it to the same extent that Marvel did. So it brings back a memory of a particular era, and I think they're really cool. And every now and then you'll see Marvel have a fit of nostalgia and put a corner box on an issue, um, and I cherish those. But like you mentioned, the Cockrum X-Men and the Burns Fantastic Four, and books of that era. It's really compelling to see those corner boxes and be transported back to 1983 or early 80s.
They served a need back then, because sometimes the drugstore shelves or the 7-Eleven shelves, the books would all be fanned out on top of each other. So this was a way you could see the title on top in that banner
Mhm.
and the identifying character corner box, and you could go, "Oh, there's the new issue of Champions," and you would pull it out. And now everybody just displays the book, full cover in front, so you don't need that anymore. But old days. My underrated book of the week is Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, number 134. The first cameo appearance of Darkseid by Jack King Kirby. How can this book be considered underrated, you ask, Richard?
I do ask.
What if I told you the most recent high grade sale was last month for a CGC 9.0 for $665?
Wow. Wow.
Okay. Now, it still just seems insanely low to me, considering this is the first appearance of the villain who inspired Thanos. We all know Darkseid came first, and Jim Starlin took a piece of tracing paper, laid it over, and drew a new character called Thanos. And same thing with Light Ray and Orion.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, Star Fox. And all right, I won't get into all this. Granted, in this book, Darkseid's in one panel at the very end, and he's mistakenly colored pink.
Yeah.
But still, this is the first appearance of Darkseid, you guys. Now, I'm wondering if this book is still low because of the Justice League debacle, the movie where Darkseid was in it and people didn't get too excited. And is James Gunn going to stay away from Darkseid in the new DC cinematic universe because they're afraid of looking like they're copying Marvel and Thanos, despite all of us knowing who really came first?
Darkseid's such a big bad, though. I find it hard to ignore him as a power in the universe. You're right, though. I mean, there is that um that's that similarity to Thanos, but you could do him in a way that hopefully you could avoid drawing too strong of a comparison. Who else is going to get to be a big bad if it's not going to be Darkseid?
He's got his own planet, people.
Yeah,
He's got and it's called Apocalypse with LIPS, like your lip.
Yeah, you can't do Brainiac because Brainiac is like Ultron, and
Can't
yeah,
do Lex Luthor. He's a human,
yeah,
you
it's
know.
yeah. I think Darkseid is this necessary because he is the ultimate form of evil in the DC universe, and to avoid him is to avoid that 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Luckily, Jim Starlin didn't rip him off too much because Thanos worshipped death, whereas Darkseid was looking for anti-life. That's completely different, Richard.
Completely, 100%.
I almost killed you there. You all right? All right, enough of me being me. Thanks everyone for spending your holiday with us. If you're watching this on Memorial Day, and please remember to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Bronze of Modern Gods. Hit like, hit subscribe, help us out. Richard, thank you.
Thank you, John, and everybody stay safe.